I think that people are so concerned with what other people are thinking about them, and I think we need to get over it because I don't think people are thinking about us all that much.
You have to kind of work in silence, because a lot of people you might not be actually working in silence. You might be trying to get your name out there, talking to people and stuff, but then people don't really start to take you serious.
It's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be in a sales job. Why? Because they fail. And people are scared of failing.
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Totem Podcast. I'm Monico Carrillo.
And I'm Erick Carrillo. I'm your other co-host here on the Totem. But guys, before we get started, if you guys like what we're doing here on the show, bringing on interesting people and just chatting about their lives, make sure to smash that subscribe button. And if you like today's guest, make sure to hit the like down below, and then just leave your thoughts in the comments. But yeah, guys, welcome to the podcast. We're in active rebellion is the question.
Yeah, so a little bit about our guest, Erick, today. She's an entrepreneur. You know, she's a very professional insurance agent that has done that over for 30 years. And now a couple years ago, they transitioned, not fully transitioned, but they have a wine business going on that's hitting pretty hard. That's, a lot of people are knowing about it. So, Sharon, welcome to the podcast.
Well, I am pleased to be here. I'm pretty excited about this whole thing. Podcasts and thinking about talking for a length of time is a little undaunting, but I'm looking forward to it. So thanks for having me.
No, appreciate you for coming on. And so tell us a little bit about people that don't know you. Give us a brief background.
So I'll talk about some interesting things because I sometimes feel that everybody knows me because I was born and raised here in Fort Morgan. My folks still live in the same house that they lived in. So again, that was a long time ago. And the childhood that I had is very different than I think the childhood that we see today. Just the environment's different. I mean, we had a boundary. So my boundary was West Street, Platte Avenue, Riverview, and West Street. So, and our favorite place to play was the cemetery. And again,
really?
So he's like, ooh. Now, again, that was a very safe place for us to be because we weren't on the streets, and not that we had a lot of traffic, back in the 60s, but it was a safe place for us to be, and we were respectful. We never played where there was a cemetery or where there was a funeral going on. We would put playing cards on our bicycles, and we could run around, and there was all kinds of lanes. And it was just where we played. We played hide and seek and kick the can, and and then when it was time for dinner, you'd hear one mom holler, "Time for dinner," and then pretty soon you'd hear 15 more, and we'd all scatter and go back to our homes. Most of us didn't have TVs. If we did have TVs, they were black and white, and I don't know, we just played outside. So born and raised in Fort Morgan, and a very interesting, different childhood than I think most kids see today. Went to the same elementary school, went to junior high, went to high school here. Again, back in the day, sports had just started, so for girls, crazy enough to think that CHASA had just done sports for girls. But I was active. I was pacemaker editor, which is the yearbook, and my favorite activity probably was I was in the play Our Home, or Our Town was the name of the play. That was very interesting. I don't know, just born and raised here. Went into my first job out of high school I was a children's librarian. Had a local insurance agent call me and say, you're really wasting your time doing that. I was like, oh, I kind of thought I was good. I love books, love children, love reading books to kids. And he goes, come over and work in my insurance agency. So I did that, and so started at the bottom. It was a P&C agency here in town, property casualty agency here in town. Started at the very bottom, answering the phones, and then pretty soon worked into commercial lines and farm and ranch, and did some accounting and did some different things. Had kids, quit working, and then one of the agents that was in there, he bought an agency that was located in one of the banks here in town, and he asked me to come over and get that set up for him. So I said, for 6 months or so I'll work for him, and then that lasted way longer than 6 months, and then had some more kids, and So then another agent called, and he was a life insurance agent, and he said, come over and kind of run the office for me. So I had a title at that point. I wasn't just a secretary. I now was an office manager, of which I was the only person in the office, plus the agents. But I worked there for a number of years, and I was training the agents that he was bringing on. And one day I had an aha moment. These agents are making more money than I am, and I'm training them. So I decided to become a licensed agent, and I've done that now for 30 years. I worked in that agency for a number of years and then went out on my own, and then eventually bought the office that I am and where I'm at today. So I've been at the office space that I am today on Kiowa since 2001. So yeah, and I'm only a life and health insurance agent, do group plans, investments, health insurance, kind of boring stuff. I insure people, not things. So no autos, no homeowners, no anything like that. So that's kind of me in a nutshell. Again, lived in 3 houses, the house I was raised in until I graduated, and then my husband and I had a home, and our first home that the joke was I could plug it in and I could vacuum the whole house and not move the outlet. I mean, it was small. And now we live in what was his grandparents' house. So my husband was born and raised here as well, Dan, 3rd-generation farmer, and we live in his grandparents' home is where we live now, and we've remodeled that, but that's where we are. We have 3 girls, and they are between the ages of 35 and 40, and now we have grandkids, and it's pretty exciting. I still have lots of granddaughters. So I have 5 granddaughters, 1 grandson, and another granddaughter on the way in August. So yeah, that's kind of the overall who I am and what I do. I love Fort Morgan. I love small towns. I love meeting people.
Yeah. So you're saying you love small towns. Could you just to kind of help me understand a little bit, what did you when you were young? What did you like to do? I'm talking young when you were maybe 10,
Sure,
young,
sure.
What were your activities?
Sure.
What did you do?
So again, we had this boundary because as we know those streets today, so I apologize for anybody who's listening, but those are through streets, with no stoplights, no anything, and lots of traffic, lots. Again, we're in a town of 12,000.
Relatively.
Yeah. So, but that's where we were safe. But we all got together with kids, you played in the yard, you played kick the can, you swam. I mean, that's what we did. So the city of Fort Morgan has a public swimming pool, and we rode our bikes. And the thing is the city had developed the infrastructure for us to do that. So there's a bicycle underground path, that you can get from what you guys would know as Mavericks, under the highway. Under the highway.
Okay.
We could go under the highway so that the kids never had to cross that. And it was the safest place to be. And when you crossed under that, you came out right where the playground is. And, you went over, you threw your bike on the ground, you threw your towel on the grass, and you had 50 cents tied in the quarter because then you would buy treats at the concession stand. I mean, that's what we did. We swam, we played the duck ponds down there. That actually was the city of Fort Morgan's first swimming pool.
Really?
Uh-huh. My father-in-law remembers swimming in that. I mean, that's what they swam in. And then they graduated from that into the ditches and the canals. Well, then that was no. So then we had the swimming pool. So I feel privileged. But that's what we did. And you played baseball, you played soccer, you took piano lessons, you took violin lessons. We had teachers who would do summer programs and offer, we could do plays, Little Mermaid, stuff like that. It was just, we were busy all the time, never in the house. My kids, they're like, I don't know what life would be without a cell phone. And I said, well, the challenge I said, we set a plan. So on Wednesday, we would start plotting. And it didn't matter if we were 10 or 12 or 16. You would come up with the plan for the weekend, and everybody would confer whose house you were going to be at, what the story was going to be in the event that you were maybe planning to do something you shouldn't be doing. But so we all had the same plan, and you never changed the plan. Never changed the plan. Because you couldn't. Because, calling, and that just wasn't going to work.
It would be too much of a hassle.
It was way too much. Yeah, you just didn't change plans. But we roller skated and brushed, went to the movies all the time, and that's just kind of what we did.
How do you see the like kids now growing up here in Fort Morgan, are they having similar like experiences to the one you had? I know it's like a little different because now there's like more stuff available to them.
Well, I think there's more stuff available to them, but I think the thing that I think is different today is that I don't think parents can trust, not that they can't trust their kids, I just don't think they can trust the environment, with just what's going on. I mean, even in our local newspapers with gun violence and people in cars trying to attract, young females in our neighboring town. I mean, I just don't think that parents have that safe feeling of turning their kids loose. Because again, when I was growing up, mom and dad both worked. And so, we had breakfast in the morning and then we did what we were supposed to do, and then parents were home for lunch from 12 to 1, and then, we had the swimming activities in the afternoon, and then we got home for dinner, and then you went out and played again. And they weren't with us, they weren't watching us. It's raising kids, it's very different today. I am very pleased because I think our community has an enormous amount of activities for young people to do. The challenge with a lot of those is getting the kids from point A to point B, getting them to those activities, and then truly some of those activities today are costing more money than what we did. Again, my piano lessons were $1 a lesson, which doesn't sound like a lot today. Now back then it would be $10 today. I mean, so there's the money aspect of that, but it's different. It's just different, and I do think that kids behave differently when parents and adults are watching and when they're not.
Oh yeah.
And I think too we're seeing a lot more grandparents helping with that parenting aspect today, so that their kids can work, and provide those opportunities.
You're saying like they act differently, like in what way? So do you think they're like they're scared to do something because they're like scared to mess up?
Well, I think what will happen is so the worst thing is when I went running, and I tripped and fell and scraped my knee, you got up and you wiped it off and you didn't cry because you were in front of your kids. Well, today, scenario might be the child goes to fall, parent sees it's going to happen, or they know it's going to happen, so they don't allow them to run or to be on that skateboard. They want to protect them. It's just
it's funny because it's completely true. So my boy, he's a year and a half. So like I see him and then he falls, and then I kind of just try to do like this, like I didn't see him, and then he'll just get up and keep going. But if I'm just like, oh, come here,
if you say you're okay, he'll start crying.
Yeah. He'll even turn around and see if you're looking.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's true.
It is true.
But then now, so what's you're saying like grandparents are getting more into like helping to raise.
Yeah, and
is that good or no?
I don't know.
Because
I don't know.
Like where I'm going with it is because like we're saying, the kid has to kind of fall on his face a couple of times to be able to just get up, because it defines kind of how they're gonna be. So it's like as a parent, like now, I mean, I'm
let
saying
them
like,
fail.
Yeah, like I'm the grandparent. You got to let your son fail a little bit. Like obviously not if something. Life is in jeopardy. Obviously, you step in, right. But it's like for other stuff, you're like, oh no, here I'll do this for you. Like.
I think that, you will both probably agree that we've learned the three of us collectively, we've learned our most when we failed, right? Mm-hmm. So we have to let kids fail. How else are they going to learn? How else are they going to learn, how to get along with kids? Because there's always that peer issue as in getting along and who's the top dog and who's the bully, and they have to learn to live with that. If they don't learn it when they're 5, 10, 12, 16, how are they ever going to survive when they're an adult? Are our parents going to be there forever to rescue them? I don't think so. So I think it's okay for kids, for people to fail, and we as parents need to allow them to fail. I think that sometimes we're fearful that our children are a reflection of us. So if
they are a reflection.
They are a reflection of us, and so we want them to be perfect because we want to appear perfect. So if you want kids to learn to dress themselves and buy their own clothes, then let them go pick them out. And if they come out with socks that aren't matched, a striped shirt and a polka dotted pair of shorts when it's 32 degrees, Do you want to fight with them and say, they don't match and you can't wear shorts on a cold day? Okay. If they insist, then let them go. I mean, they're going to learn that maybe the shorts weren't a good idea. But again, who's going to let their kids do that today? They just don't. So
That's exactly what I was saying. That's a very unpopular thing. Like now, because they don't. Nobody wants to look dumb. Right. Nobody wants to go through that.
They don't.
Nobody wants to fail.
And I think too that most people are concerned about what other people are thinking. And honestly, we all should be so busy just trying to take care of us, take care of those few people that really matter. That am I paying attention? For instance, yesterday I had the opportunity to pick up my granddaughters from daycare, and I mean I had no time to look at what those kids were wearing, if they had paint on them, if they had matching shoes, matching socks. I mean, I don't have time to look at them, and I don't care. And I don't care either if they had on a pair of $45 shorts and a $35 t-shirt. I didn't notice that either, unlike the mismatch. So I think that people are so concerned with what other people are thinking about them, and I think we need to get over it because I don't think people are thinking about us all that much.
Yeah,
I don't think it's just like letting, because you guys are talking about like letting them fail. I don't think it's just that. I think it's that, and then also teaching them some sort of like discipline. Because like the saying goes, like for parents, like if parents spoil their kids, then they're gonna have to raise their grandkids. But then if parents raise their kids, then they can spoil their grandkids.
I agree. Oh, I remember spending time with my grandparents, and my mom was one of four, and then I was the first grandchild, and I was a granddaughter. And my grandparents lived in Wiggins on a farm. And as the story goes, my grandfather said, "Oh, great, another girl." Oh, I'm glad I wasn't here to say that, or to hear him say that. Now, as time went on, after I was born, there were 7 grandsons. And so then, for years, my grandfather would introduce me as his favorite granddaughter. And people would say, "Oh, Pete, I bet you like your other granddaughters." Nope, I don't. I only have this one. Because, again, people knew he had other grandchildren, but they don't remember.
It's kind of like a joke kind of thing.
It was. But, I never lost a game playing with my grandma. My grandma would send me out to pick strawberries, and I'd sit and eat them all, and it was okay. She was a typical grandma. She baked on Saturdays, and we had big family dinners on Sundays. And I mean, I loved my time with my grandparents. I don't want to say they spoiled me, but I think it's the ideal situation that, the grandparents know that they have 2, 3, 4, half a day with their grandkids. And you just can focus on those kids. You can let them play. You can let them do. You can teach them, kind of, sort of. You can let them make tents, out of furniture and afghans and crawl in there with them. And then when parents come, they start whining and crying and send them home. But, grandparents can just spoil. They don't have to discipline. And they can just let kids be kids and teach them things in a different way. Because parents have to discipline. I mean, parent, no.
Yeah.
You are a parent too.
No.
Parent, yes.
I'm saying my parents
Yeah. So the thing is like when you get to spend time with that nephew, I mean, it's like, yeah, he can. They
want to go do everything. Like, want ice cream? Let's go.
I was just
like,
you want some candy?
They want some candy. Like,
and
I just told them they can't have candy, and then they'll go with grandma or him. They're like, "Can I have candy?" Yeah, and they come back with some.
Actually, you just offer it. It's like, here.
Yeah.
So like all the time when my niece leaves my parents' house, she's like taking home snacks and like in little baggies and stuff. She's like, this is for the way home or whatever.
Yeah, it's just fun. So it's just, I don't know, I have great memories. Are they rose-colored? Probably, but they're what I remember and they're what I cherish. And I just hope that, my grandchildren can have some of those experiences as well.
I was just going to say that a lot of people, when they think of discipline, they think of like beating your kids.
They think of the belt.
They think of the belt.
The mom or your dad chasing them to the house with
the chancla. But then it's also like disciplining your kids isn't like, it might be if they deserve it or whatever, but it's also like teaching your kids those values and the lessons that they need to know for like life.
So you think about going back to this child picking out their clothes. I mean, you could make them go back upstairs, and they're screaming and hollering, and you put them in these clothes, and they go, and they're miserable, and everybody has a bad day. So that's kind of discipline in a way, letting them, it's like, okay, I'm going to suggest that you don't wear shorts today because it's, cold outside. But you let them go. If they call you from school and say, your son's really cold, why don't you bring him a pair of pants? No, he picked out his clothes today. We had a discussion, and that's what he did. Now, what parent's going to be gutsy enough to do that? They're going to okay, I'll take my lunch hour early, and I'll run home and get a pair of pants and run up. I mean, we're just babying these kids. And so discipline is just not always just, like you said, the spanking, the sitting in the corner, the timeout. It's just letting them learn. I mean, that's discipline. And it's discipline for us as parents and as adults, whether we're working with children, whether we're working with the people that we're, co-working with. It's all the same.
Yeah, and it's funny because
I'm not the best parent in the world, so some parent out there is, some psychologist is like, she's a crazy lady, but been called that before too.
And other people might think like whatever I'm saying is like a bunch of like BS, whatever, because I'm not a parent. But I have parents around me. I see what's going on, so I'm learning before I even get to that situation.
And the whole thing too with like, you just said, I'm not the best parent. That's where route do we want to go with it? So it's like we say that it's like a game you're playing with yourself. Like, because I do it with myself. Like, you're saying I'm the best parent. You stop trying to be the best parent because you're already the best. But you're saying I'm not the best parent, so you try to be better every day.
Every day.
And
every day.
But when you think you're the best, everybody wants to think they're the best parent. Like, I'm doing the best for my kid. Are you? Like, under whose metrics?
Right. Exactly.
And then, so I do that with my daughter. Like, what do you want to wear today? And then she'll just come out with some random clothes. Like, because we're going to the grocery store. Like, okay, let's go. Like, and then, and it doesn't match and stuff or whatever. Or her hair's all messed up. Like, she'll just throw a hat on because I always wear hats.
That could also be like boosting her confidence too.
Exactly.
Because if she goes and picks out her own clothes and you like shoot her down, like, no, go change. She's gonna start thinking like, every decision that I make is wrong. So why even start making it for myself?
Exactly. It's just like, I'm not going to do that. So
and then they grow up and then they develop, like, now transition kind of like into like business and what you do. Me personally, I think every adult should go through some sort of sales job in their life because they're going to go through it. And then it's survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
They all nobody wants to be in a sales job. Why? Because they fail, and people are scared of failing. But sales, I mean, it's the best thing you could do, but nobody wants to do it.
Yeah, I agree. It's the best opportunity. So that kind of leads into the insurance stuff. So again, I'm female, and back 30 plus years ago, most females were school teachers or nurses, and I'm going to go into insurance sales. Even today, when I attend meetings, the female to male ratio is 1 to 7, and
really?
it's just very low. It's just very low because I mean, insurance is and sales. Most sales jobs are commission based with no base salary. So some places today, because they know people can't survive just on commissions, but back then, and it took a long time. So I would call somebody and they would agree to meet with me. And then I'd go visit with them, and we'd figure out what it is they might need. I'd go back to the office, put together a plan, go see them again, present my plan. Then they'd have to think about it. And then I'd go back and I'd write the policy. Then I'd have to hope it went through underwriting. And then I'd have to deliver the policy, and I'd collect the premium. And then I'm going to finally get paid. I mean, this was a 60 to 90-day process. Now, that's on the good days. Because what happens if they say no after, my sixth step here I'm presenting? It's like, no, we don't think we can afford that.
Or they don't even or they didn't even answer the phone trying to set the appointment to meet them.
Oh yeah. So we had systems for that too. But and then or you underwrite it and they don't get approved. So we had to work really, really hard. So fortunately my husband was farming, and I was not responsible for making that a mortgage payment. So we could grow the business, and I could grow my clientele. People often ask me, so what do you think, what was the key that made you successful at what you do? And I don't know really the answer to that, but I think the one most important thing that I did is that I got involved in the community. So I joined Rotary. I was active in my church. am active in my church. I volunteered to do things, and the word voluntold, that's a word that just needs to be taken out of people's vocabulary. I volunteered to do something. And I think what happened then is it put me in different places to meet different people that I wouldn't normally meet. They also got to see me not as an insurance agent. I was just a member of, and it could be Rotary, Lions, Optimist. It doesn't matter. The civic clubs are good, and churches, and whatever it is in the community that we do. But people got to see who I was. When I said I would serve on a committee, and I would be at the committee meeting, and then I'd show up to pick up trash, and I did it. And I think that once people see people doing what they do, they're going to assume if I do that when I'm not being paid, that I probably will do that when I am being paid. So I like to say that I am who I am 24/7. And I think that truly, truly that is the backbone of my success as an insurance agent. Now, the thing is that didn't happen overnight. I mean, that took years, to establish that, she is dependable. She has some good ideas now and then, and, she'll try and she'll work hard, and she'll always tell you what she thinks, and she listens when she's not right. And, so I think that was probably my biggest success, and the fact that I just kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it.
The going back to like we're talking about at the beginning, the discipline and then being consistent. Being consistently disciplined.
Oh, he's so good.
Yeah. So he's got all the good nuggets right there.
Is that it? That was a good nugget.
That was a good one. Save that one. Start.
That is, we could talk all day about that, but that is so hard. I mean, 2 words. That is, and they're simple words, and we can all define them differently, but that is the key. I mean, I had to make, so my numbers, when I started, and those numbers are still today, if I make 10 calls, I will get 3 appointments for 1 sale. And those numbers haven't changed, even after 30 years of experience. But today I know that when I make a phone call, based on the amount of money that I make today, I know how much each one of those phone calls are, even if I don't get an appointment. Clear back then, it was worth $1 for every phone call. But I was motivated by how many phone calls can I make, how many appointments can I have, how many people can I see, and truly believing in what I do. I don't go to work, and I don't do anything 8 hours. I'm.
How long? Elaborate for me a little bit.
Why?
You're saying, like I don't go to work and I don't do it 8 hours.
Oh no, I don't go to work because work is something that you have to do, and I don't have to go to work, and I don't work. I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't think about it going to work. I look forward to Fridays because now we have the winery, and I can see different people do different things. But I look forward to Mondays. I'm ready to go back into my office. I'm ready for phone calls. I'm ready for people to call and say, Sharon, I really have a problem. How can you help me? I'm thinking of retiring. What does this look like? Or I'm thinking of moving. Or, Sharon, I'm helping my mom and dad. I never thought I'd have to do this. And now, we're having some aging issues, and I need to understand this. And so I get to talk to people my age about their parents and their parent situation. I just get to have conversations all day long. And I don't work 8 hours, so I'm pretty active in the community. I was a volleyball ref for 40 years and served on bank boards at the hospital and at the college, and I served on several more boards today. And so that board work takes time. So I go to the office, and I'm very fortunate to have an assistant there who probably most of my clients like her better than they do me, honestly. And when they call and I answer the phone, it's like, oh, what are you doing answering the phone?
Can I talk to your assistant?
Yeah, I got to talk to the one who knows and who does. So I go to work, and then I go to a board meeting, or I would go officiate volleyball, or I'd go watch my kids' activities. I just never had to sit in an office and work 8 hours a day. Now, the thing is I leave my house at 7 in the morning and I show up at 10 o'clock at night. So really long days, but I got to do different things. And truly, I believe that diversification is what made me as successful as I was. And I feel for people who have to work 8 hours a day, and they are bummed. And they will say, well, I don't want to be an optimist, or I don't want to be a 4-H leader or a Girl Scout leader. Or
do you think that's why people get burned out?
I think they get burned out. I think they get burned out because they do something for so long.
That they hate.
they hate. And again, you know, we should only be doing things we like. If we don't like doing something, we don't do it. So
Did you always have that mentality though? 'Cause
Yes.
I'm pretty sure when you started out, it was like a lot harder for you to be enjoying it, I guess, because you weren't seeing like the fruits of your labor, or was it like I think making
I was
phone
too
calls, I
dumb
like
to
talking
even
people.
know. I think I was. My husband and I joke about this all the time. We were so poor, and I don't think we knew how poor we were. I tell stories about when I used to, you know, go through the couch cushions to look for quarters to go buy milk. My kids were like, "Were we poor?" Yeah, I guess so, but I didn't think about being poor. I didn't think about what I was doing. I just enjoyed what I'm doing. And I think that all of us would say, if we're not loving what we do, then stop doing it. Do something different.
Yeah, here's another nugget for you. I just remembered it. It was from a video. A lot of the stuff is from videos and stuff that I listened to. But he's saying if you want to be able to shop without looking at the price tag, you got to be able to work without looking at the clock.
Very good.
And it's like you're saying, like, were you poor? Like,
Oh.
yeah, we were poor, but we're just like working, you know. And then now people are like, Sharon, you're so lucky. You're so lucky.
And I am lucky. I
But to an extent, right?
Yeah. The harder so my little
Yeah.
saying is, you know, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Exactly.
And I'd rather be
Love it.
lucky than good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Because truly, if everybody thinks they're really good at what they do and it's all about them and it's all about their success, well, hucky poo on that. I mean, unfortunately, all of us can look around and we can see that we were in the right place at the right time. And that's why people have to be out and doing. So I go to the post office twice a day. How much mail do I get in my post office box? Won't even go with where I think the post office is today, but rarely do I get mail anymore. I mean, it all comes through email or, you know, even the old word of fax. I mean, but I go to the post office twice a day to see people because the post office is still a busy place. Maybe not so much for mail, but, you know, birth certificate or passports, you know, doing stuff like that, getting mail orders. Anyway, when I go twice a day, I'm going to see somebody and they're going to say to me, you know, I've been meaning to call you about insurance. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you a call. What's a good time? And they'll tell me, oh, I'll be home by, you know, in a half an hour. Call me then. Okay, so the whole time I'm walking into the post office, opening my box, knowing there's nothing there, and saying, get back to the office and call Susie. Call Susie. Call Susie at the time. So the thing is how many people mean to do something and they never get around to it? They never get around to it. So the thing is so suddenly now the ball was in their court because they thought we need insurance and we need to talk about this, or I need to change beneficiaries, whatever it is. And the ball was in their court. Then they see me. It's like, oh, I've been meaning to call you. Now the ball's in my court. I have to call them. So I am saying over in my head, call Susie, call Susie. I get in my car, drive back, write it on a piece of paper because I could forget. But so going to the post office. Now, who is that 101 marketing? Probably not, but it has served me well. I have seen more people and had more people say, not only at the post office, but at a volleyball match, at a Rotary meeting. It's like, I've been meaning to call you.
Just being at the
It's just being out there.
Yeah.
It's being out there. Top of mind. People don't buy life and health insurance every day, unlike we buy lettuce. So the thing is when they do need that, or when they just need, it's like, Sharon, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to think this through. I want them to say, I bet if I call Sharon, she'll have some ideas for me. I mean, and even half my phone calls are never about insurance. They're just about stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah. So to me, unfortunately, I can't when I have a conversation with somebody and just walking them through something and talking about it, those are the days that I am probably the happiest and the most fulfilled. Now, I can't take that to Safeway and get a bag of groceries. So I still have to write a policy that I get paid commissions on that are still going to be helpful. But, you know, just being an order taker, you know, the fact that somebody needs health insurance or needs life insurance because the bank says they do, I mean, those are okay events and we get them done. But that's how I pay for my groceries. But how I feel good inside is when I'm able to make a difference in somebody's life. That's all that needs to happen. The day I die, I want somebody to say, she made a difference. That's all I want.
That's awesome.
She made a difference.
That's awesome. were talking about it the other day, going back to the post office thing. Like, next time I go to the post office, I'm just going to be looking around.
Sharon's going to pop out of the corner.
She's going to come out. Like, hey.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
It's funny because you're saying, like, you have to, like, kind of work in silence, you know? Because a lot of people, like, you might not be actually working in silence. You might be, like, trying to get your name out there, talking to people and stuff, but then people don't really start to take you serious until you actually, like, have time, until you've put work into it.
Right.
And then there's, like, maybe, like, a little bit of, like, fruit starting to come out of your labor, but then just people, like, keep on, like, doubting you.
Fruits in what way? Like monetary, or like people start knowing you? Or
people start knowing you.
Right.
I mean, it's like a little bit of both. But, like, when people start, like, knowing you, and then they, like, oh, like, she's still doing that thing? Oh, cool.
Right.
And then they come back, they kind of ignore you for a little bit, and then they see you again, and you're, like, a little bit better than you were.
Right, because I kind of ebb and flow, in people's lives. Buying life insurance, buying health insurance, planning for retirement, doing those kinds of things. And so, and then it's just a different world. And then, my husband and I have been fortunate enough to travel, and so that offers, some more opportunities. And I think it helps me share, and it helps me see the world bigger. Because if I just stay in Fort Morgan, Colorado, and I see the same 20 people, I mean, that's just kind of all I'm going to think about. And so I think traveling, and I think having different friends, having different groups to meet with, church groups, Rotary groups, 4-H. 4-H was huge, for our family. But being able to meet different people, see different things, I think it keeps us fresh and opportunities. I mean, if you would have said to me 10 years ago, Sharon, I bet you guys will open a winery and have vines planted, I would have said, you're crazy. We live in Fort Morgan, Colorado. We can't even grow, grapes here. And then now look at us. We started planting grapes in 2018, 19, and 20, and my husband takes this hobby, and now we have this hobby on steroids, but we love it. Paradise on the plains out there,
How did that come about?
Because, I mean, before you, like, tell us the whole thing. I did some research on it. Like, people see it like, oh, that must be nice. He learned how to make wine right away. But I was doing so. He's actually been like 2012 or something like that, or even before that.
Yeah. So he started making wine. We both enjoy libations, whether it be beer or hard liquor or wine. And I don't know. He got a crazy hair one day and said, I think I can make wine. And so our home is electric, and each room has its own power or its own heat source. So after the girls were gone, he started making wine in their bathroom because he could keep it at 70 degrees and kept the door closed, and we just started making wine. And he had a lot of failures, and we dumped a lot of stuff, and we drank a lot of stuff, and we shared a lot of stuff, and we started donating, and pretty soon people were like, I think I'd like to buy that, or we're like, huh. So he goes, I guess I'll look into getting it licensed. And he says to me one day, what do you think about us opening a winery? And I'm like, well, whatever. Be careful.
How long had he been making it before he's like
10 years? 10 years.
That's exactly what we're saying. You're working in silence.
That is right. And the thing is probably 3/4 of our friends, that's kind of acquaintances, and they're like, didn't even know you're doing that. Well, no, you just do it, and you do it for you. You're not doing it for somebody else. You're doing it because you want to do it.
And that's important.
It is important.
Because, like, even now, like, people are like, oh, that's just a hobby for them. Yeah, maybe now it might be a hobby, but that could turn into something.
No, it's as big as it's going to get. I'm not going to say whatever. So I mean, it went way out of control. I mean, truly, it was something we were going to do. So going back to the small town, as an adult, that's all I've heard is there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do here. So I thought, what is it I like to do? And there's nothing wrong with leaving our community and then coming back. There's nothing wrong. But I think that the people in our community, because we were so mobile, and I'm talking pre-pandemic, even 10 years prior to that, people would just pick up at the drop of a hat and drive to Denver for dinner, not even thinking about where we could eat locally. And we got so mobile, and we just came and went, and then, pandemic just put a shutdown to that like no other. And we would go and do experiences. And so now we're here we are, 2020, and we have nothing else to do. Now, we planned the winery prior to that, but I kept thinking and hearing, there's nothing to do here. There's nothing to do here. I was sitting on boards where we were trying to recruit executive directors, and we could get the executive director or the president or whatever it is we were looking for. It was though the spouse that we were challenged with, and it didn't matter male or female. That they were in this community and are like, ugh, nothing to do here. So now when people say to me, there's nothing to do here, I'm like, well, then you need to come up with something to do. So put together a pickleball team, or sponsor a chess club, or, put together a writing club. I mean, do something. You can do something. Why does everybody have to do something for you? You can do something for the community. And you don't have to have money to do that stuff. Just an idea, spread it out, Pretty soon there's, a cribbage group that meets. And does the whole world know that Fort Morgan has a cribbage club? No. Do they need to? No, because there's just a small group of people who like to play cribbage, or maybe people who never thought about playing cribbage or chess or cornhole or whatever it is.
Pool,
and now they're doing it.
game.
I mean, that stuff doesn't take money. So
There's like that famous saying, I forgot which president it was, but it's like, don't ask what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
same thing. Just take it down
Was
to
that
your
Joe?
town.
Was that Joe Biden?
No, but
No, I'm
wait.
just kidding.
Grandpa Joe.
Nice try. But you're
because
exactly right.
because like I was one of those people that was like always like, oh, there's nothing to do here, nothing to do here. But I do think it's like important for people to experience something else, like whether it's like they go travel or they go move to a different city or anything, just to get those different experiences like you were talking about.
I mean, look how many people come back. I mean, I look around our community, and our community is so much younger than it was. So many different people. There was a day when I knew everybody at the grocery store, everybody that sat in the church pew, everybody at the Little League baseball game, and now it's like I don't know half the people there.
That's what I was telling Eric. Like, I go to the grocery store and stuff. Like, I feel like I don't know anybody in here.
It's
Like,
crazy.
they might know me or something, but I feel like I don't know anybody.
Right.
And I used to go and I knew everyone.
Right. So
it's
it's just
different.
it's a crazy world. So the winery's opened up a different opportunity for us. Fortunately, the winery does not, make our payments. The wine just needs to take care of itself. It really was a place for people to come. We try to keep it priced affordably so that people can enjoy that. But yet I don't want to go backwards. I don't want to lose money on that.
So you just want to keep it where it's at. You don't want to continue to grow it,
No,
even
because
though you.
People
If
are
you
gonna
really
start
wanted to,
showing
you
up.
I
really
think we could. I think we could, but no. I mean,
People are just going to start showing up after they listen to
I don't
this.
know. I don't know. So this leads us into Juan, and I do want to talk about him. So Juan Ayala, I think that's a name that it's pretty common, and you guys have spent a little bit of time with him and done some interviews with him, as well as have other people in our community. And he's truly an interesting person. And so I've known Juan for a number of years, and in a business relationship with insurance, and then with the wine business, and then with the pandemic, he called because we were licensed in 2019, planted grapes in 2018, but we were licensed in 19, ready to market grapes in April, or ready to market wine in April of 2020. And then we couldn't.
Yeah.
So Juan called and goes, well, Sharon, I'd like to sell some local wine. And I'm like, well, thanks, Juan, but no, we're not. Our business plan is not to market in a liquor store. We want people out here. Our tagline is where friends and wine meet. And I said, we just want people to come out. We want to have conversations with them, because that's what we love when we go to wineries, breweries, distilleries, or food courts, or whatever it is. We love just interacting and having conversations with the owners of the businesses, but also with the 10 or 15 other people that are in the room. And I said, no, thanks. He goes, well, Sharon, think about it. And I'm like, okay. So he calls back. Think about it, Sharon? Think about what, Juan? Selling wine at the liquor store. No, I don't think so. And he goes, well, Sharon, why not? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anything about that. He goes, well, what's there to think about? You sell me the wine, I sell it. I said, but. And he had an excuse for he had an answer for all of my excuses. So finally I said, all right, we'll give it a try. Oh my gosh. Best decision he ever made for us. He markets wine. So Fort Morgan, again, very small. The winery and Village Liquors clear across town. I mean, all of 4 miles. He sells wine that we don't carry any longer. He buys wine and he sits on it, and then once we've sold out of it, then he sells it. We have wine that he's only had wine that he carried, that we never ever marketed. He constantly has ideas for me, things for me to think about. He makes me think outside my box. He's younger than I am. He's a different generation than I am. People have often said when they see us together or they hear that we work together a little bit, they're like, well, that's an odd couple for sure. And I'm like, I never thought about us as an odd couple. However, he is younger than I am, a whole generation younger, and it is a little uncommon. I can learn a lot from him, and he can learn a little from me. Different gender, so we think different, we market different. His advantage is that he's bilingual and I'm not, so I'm like, yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not, no. As much as I would love to speak another language, and
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and I hardly can use the English language very well. So learning another language, I think, is beyond me, and that will be the one thing that I will probably want to do and not ever be able to accomplish. But so people think, that kind of we're an odd couple, but he makes me think young and think differently and think about marketing differently. And yeah, it's been a great relationship. And I think that a lot of people are surprised. I think other people are surprised with, some of the people that I spend time with. I've learned that I need to spend time with people who think young. And they don't have to be young to think young. There's another gentleman that I spend a lot of time with, and he's a retired bank president and, 75 years old. And he can outthink and outplan and outplot and have way more energy than I do. And then sometimes I'm with other 35, 40, and 50-year-olds, and they're like, they just drag me down. So I like to surround myself with people who are smarter than I am and have more ideas, and that we can work together and grow. I'm not a big nurturer of relationships. If anybody calls me and says, my car broke down, can you come watch my kids? I got to run to the hospital, whatever it is. I'm going to drop whatever it is. I'm going to go do it. But I just don't have relationships that I have to call people once a week and check on them or go have coffee with them. That's not what I want to do.
How important is it to build those relationships with other people in the community? How you're saying you want to be with people who are smarter than you, who know a little bit more than you. Then how important is that?
I think it's extremely important. Now, do we wake up one morning and do I say, well, I think I'm going to go meet somebody who does marketing? Did I wake up one morning and say that? No. I know, bummers. You're crushed. However, when the two of you showed up and we had the opportunity to meet, we were intrigued with each other. Would we not agree with that? It's like, this woman's pretty, this person, it doesn't have to be woman. This person is pretty different. And I'm thinking, these two guys are really different. I need to get to know them. And so it was a natural progression of friendship and getting to know each other. So I think we have to be purposeful for that. But if I wasn't open, or if you two weren't open to meeting new people and experiencing new things, not that we have to agree or disagree, it's just I want to learn more. I want to know more about this person. I want to know more about what you do, and it just happens. But if people aren't open to that, it's just not going to happen. And if they're not out and about, and if they're not taking care of opportunities, sometimes I have big hopes for when I go to an event that I'm going to meet somebody, and sometimes I don't. And it's okay. But then sometimes you meet 2 or 3 really cool people that you want to try to nurture that relationship with. And it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes it takes years.
But just keep showing up.
You just got to keep doing.
Deion Sanders had a speech. He was talking about it's not going the way you want it, but just keep making plays.
Yeah.
It sucks. Life's not as good as you want it right now, but just keep making plays.
It's that consistent discipline you're talking about earlier.
It is. So another thing is, think about this. If you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always gotten.
It's the definition of craziness.
It is.
Doing the same thing over and over and expect a different result.
So if you don't like where you are, if you are unhappy, take a deep breath. What is it I can change? Do you have to buy a new house, move to a new town, get a new partner, have more kids, buy a new car? No, but just do something a little different. And I think getting involved in the community, I think. And there's 1,000 things that we can do in this community. I mean, that don't cost money. I mean, you can go to the field house, you can go walk at the nature trail. You're going to run into somebody walking their dog down there who may, if you are looking for a new partner, or, I mean, there's just a ton of opportunities that can come out. You can deliver Meals on Wheels. It takes 45 minutes at noon every day. Some people have such a great feeling about that when they get done, and it's so important. It's so important. The lives that have been saved with that particular thing, and that's not the goal of Meals on Wheels. The goal of Meals on Wheels is to provide food, for people who need a good home-cooked meal, who won't, when you're by yourself, it's no fun to eat. You're going to eat a bowl of cereal 3 times a day. And that's not healthy for you. But, having that interaction, people are delivering a meal. Well, the thing is when you knock on the door and nobody answers, or you hear help, somebody's fallen, it could be days, but if somebody's delivering a meal every day to them, they're checking on them. And what a peace of mind for their kids who maybe no longer live in the area. So there are so many things that people could do that just give them a feeling of reward and a feeling of self-worth and purpose. I think that's so important.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. And then kind of validating kind of like what you're saying, like me and Eric were talking about it the other day, like being around people that have different points of view and stuff. You poke holes in the arguments. Like if there's 2 people in the room that think like someone's actually, I think like you don't have to necessarily agree with everything, but just, okay, now you heard it, you're exposed to that idea, that thought, and so you're just like, okay,
It's like the same thing about like getting out of like your same hometown, so that way you could be open and just like receptive to new ideas and of things going on in the world, or how to do things differently.
Letting your ego go a little bit. I mean, not thinking you're the best.
Right,
like you're saying, I want to hang out with people that are smarter than me or better than me. But you have to let your ego go to know that you're not the smartest
as
person.
soon as we all recognize that there's somebody smarter, richer, better looking, has more, is going to accomplish more than we are, as soon as we recognize that, the happier we'll be. And not that we can't achieve to be that, but there's always going to be somebody out there smarter, richer, better looking than us. Mm-hmm. Well, that's been a fast hour, gentlemen.
Yeah, that has. So what are some new stuff for the
winery?
Yes, this summer.
Oh gosh, for the winery this summer we're going to have lots of different events out there. So we've got new cornhole coming out. We'll do some country line dancing. We'll have some music on the patio. I'm really excited about some opportunities with food trucks. That's a big thing. I think that Fort Morgan needs to embrace our food trucks and our food options. Running a restaurant nowadays is tougher because we just don't have the employees and the staff. So, if we can generate that food in a common kitchen and take it to the masses, and families can do that, which kind of goes back to why the winery won't get bigger. Dan and I have made a very, very conscious decision that it will be him and I who do that. We do have a daughter who lives here in town and loves the wine industry, and she'll be out at the winery this summer more. She's got 2 little ones, and so that makes it kind of hard. But we want to keep it small. We want to keep it family. It's not about the number of wines, and we want to share opportunities. Hope to have some book authors. There's a gal in Wiggins that is writing some children's books, and they are just amazing. And even though children and winery don't always go together, I think that having her out and having people expose, her to the community. I want to continue to partner with the other small businesses in our community that are not storefronts and can't afford to have storefronts or don't have the time to do that, but they've got a product that they want to market or an idea that they want to share with the community. So there's going to be lots of good things, I think, coming about. Every day is a new day out there. I kind of sort of have a plan, but I kind of let the day go where it is, trying to shove a square peg in a round hole. I'm the only one that's frustrated with that. And so just being open to what people need, what the community needs, helping with fundraising opportunities. Alcohol and fundraising, those are kind of touchy just because of alcohol laws, but if there's a way we can provide gift certificates or do those kind of things or host events, we're looking at that. We're not an event center. We just like to share wines, and you don't the nice thing is you can come out to the winery and taste the wine. You don't have to buy the wine based on the label. So anyway, yeah,
go.
it'll be fun things.
And what's next for you personally? Because I know like you're involved in a bunch of like councils and stuff. Or are you like involved in like city council or anything?
No, never. I've never done city council or school board. First of all, we don't live in the city, so you have to live in the city to be on the city council, which I'm sure that current mayors, past mayors, all mayors, and other city council people are thrilled about that. I never had the desire to sit on the school board. I think that we've always had really good people who have volunteered for that. That's not been a real big interest of mine. And I truly don't do anything I don't want to do. And there's a few things that I've tried and have not enjoyed, and I've finished my commitment. If I said I would do something for a year or whatever it was, I will finish it, but I won't sign back up just because it's maybe important or it's a good thing to do. I just don't. So, just doing what I like to do, and I think it's good.
That's cool. That's awesome.
And where could people find you if they want to contact you for like help with insurance, or if they want to hit up the winery?
Okay, so we'll start with insurance. So, name of my agency is Insurance Connection, and it's at 229 West Kiowa. I don't have a website for that. You have to call me or come see me, but that's easy enough to do. Or then for the winery's located at 16985 County Road 21. We're just a mile south of 34, between Brush and Fort Morgan, out where the John Deere dealership is. We're on Road R. We're just a mile from the beef plant. So we're really easy to find. Website we have is countryroadwines.com. We have a Facebook page, and which we do posts, pretty regularly. I try to do a What You Want to Know Wednesday every day, and then during the weekend kind of let people know what we're going to have planned for the weekends. I've started doing Sundays, or I've kind of shown what the winery's done over the week, just to showcase some activities and hopefully to give people ideas about what they can do. Not necessarily at the winery, but just ideas, because a great idea is sparked from something else. So again, open at the winery on Fridays and Saturdays. Today, 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Sweet. So yeah, thank you for taking time out of
it's been my
your
pleasure.
busy schedule to come chat with us.
Never too busy to talk to you two. Never too busy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sweet. Yeah, and then we'll put all of the links down in the description.
Okay.
We'll put the addresses and stuff so people can check it out. Because we've been to the winery and it's awesome. I really recommend people to go check it out.
Yeah, they're gonna have to go check it out. At least go out there once, try it out, and
Right.
make a decision on it.
There you go.
Yeah. But guys, if you guys like today's episode, if you guys want to hear more about Sharon, we'll put all her links down below. But if you guys like this episode, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel so that way you can be notified every time we got a new episode going up live, and leave your thoughts down below in the comments. But with that, guys, thank you guys for tuning in to the podcast.
Yeah, and remember, an act of rebellion is to question. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated.